y'all. This is early in the morning. I have my pajama pants on with a shirt. You know, bringing it old school YouTube style. You can only see the top part, but I think now you can see the bottom part. This video is going to be another one of our foster care. It would be like a foster care adoption video, but this one is going to be more foster care because this one is from a subscriber that gave me a lot of questions. And I told her, I said, I'm going to turn this into a video. These are some questions that I thought of, but I didn't know how to make them answers, if that makes sense. So I love it when you guys ask the questions because there's going to be some things that I'm not going to think of to answer because I already know them. Like I've already went through it. So I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, I didn't think about that. Now, before I get started, I just want to let y'all see that the background is my bedroom. And it is because it is hot outside right now. It is 86 degrees. Oh, like, girl, that is not hot. You're absolutely right. 86 is not hot. I could live in 86. I could stay outside in the sun, reading a book, listening to music, watching a video all day in 86. But in Texas, it says that it feels like 92 with the humidity of 65%. We're going inside. Here we go, y'all. I had to take a picture. So the comment is like this. So let's get to it. It is 10 o'clock in the morning. I want to have this video up the same day. Today is Friday and Friday the 28th, and it's 10 o'clock right now. Hopefully I can get this video up on the same day. Let's get started. I don't want the video to be too long because y'all know I can babble. Oh, but before I get started, I want you guys to do something for me. Do a big, huge favor. I want you to go over to Christine's channel. It is Christine Marie Sings. She now has a podcast. Woo-woo. So I want you guys to go over there, watch her videos, subscribe, like, share, you know, do all of the things that you do for me. Do it for her too. So let's go on to the first question. Can you please do a video on the things that are permissible or not for foster parents in terms of the children? I recall that we did not see Buddy's face until he became Eddie. It's really gray area. I don't know how it is now because I adopted Eddie in 2018. I've had him all his life. It took a long time to get to that finish line. I had him since he was like 5 months old, but when I adopted him, he was a couple weeks shy of being 3 years old. So since 2018 to 2023, there's probably it's probably not gray anymore. It's probably black and white. And I don't mean race. I mean rules. But back then, so I can only talk about what I've experienced. Back then, they didn't tell you that you couldn't put them on social media, you know, things like that. So you had to go off feelings. That's what I did. Because when I had another little boy, this was way before Lizzie, what I did was I would just show behind his head and us walking down the street, but I said his real name. But then when Lizzie and Eddie came, by then I was more on social media and I heard other people in other states saying that they couldn't do it. Like their social worker told them they couldn't do it. And in class, when they went through their training, they said you couldn't do it. I was like, they didn't tell us that. So all the people in my class, we were putting the children up on social media. We mainly had Facebook, so we was putting things up, showing it to our friends and family, things like that. When you are doing social media beyond your friends and family, I'm gonna say no. Now there are some people who do this, which I feel is kind of silly, and I'm sorry if you do this, I'm so sorry. They will show their foster child, and they will put glasses on them, whether it's real glasses, or whether it is like an emoji, like take an emoji and put the emoji glasses on there. You see their nose, you see their lips, you see their head, their ears. You just don't see their eyes. They do say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. So maybe that's why if I cover up their soul, like what? I don't know. My thing is cover the whole doggone face. And I feel don't say names. That's why I gave Lizzie the name Mamacita. That's not her birth name. Her birth name is Elizabeth. And then I gave Eddie Buddy. His birth name is Edgar. So what I feel that you should blur their face and give them a nickname. But when you go to class, ask them how they feel. But it's not even so much ask them how how the social workers feel. It's like, think about it. They're not your child at that point. Like in the very beginning, they're not your child. No matter how much you feel like it, they're not yours yet. And that child may not ever be yours, because you may have them for a year or two, and then they may go on and go back home to their birth family. And I also feel never share personal business, like why they became a foster child, whether you adopt them or not. Like, no one knows why my kids became foster children, and I have no plans on telling the world. They can tell the world when they get older if they decide to. But we all know, like common sense, we all know that it's a negative, unfortunate reason. Everybody knows that, but you don't know the details. You don't know what type of unfortunate, negative situation brought that child into being adopted, or that child being into adoption, or my children being into adoption. So I don't go into detail. Some people do go into detail. They go and they make, you know how people will do a home tour, house tour. They'll put like a my child's business tour. They will put the whole thing online. I'm like, don't do that. That was a long reason for that answer. But my thing is, when in doubt, blur it out. That was a long answer. We're gonna be here for a minute. Wait, what? What is going on? Y'all. So, number 2, what about your money that the state reimburses foster parents for child expenses? After I did that video and I put it up, I was like, I shouldn't have used the word reimbursement, because reimburse means you get back what you give. And if that's not true, you get a certain amount. So for example, I'm going to throw numbers out there. I don't like talking about money, especially when it comes to foster children, because that's where where people get so angry when it comes to foster parents and foster children. Someone had even left a comment saying, you do this out of the kindness of your heart. It ain't no money. Or it's something they said. But I'm like, that kind of makes sense what you said, but you're still kind of wrong. Like, stop. Because you have to look at it this way. If you have 1 child or 2 children, however many children you want, and those are the only children that are going to be with you forever, I understand where you come from when you say, you should be doing this out of the kindness of your heart. This ain't about no money. Don't be looking for no money. I understand where you've come from on that. Because I could kind of look at it like that. Certain pieces. But when you have a child or multiple children in your home for a week, they go. 3 more kids come, they stay for a month, they go. 1 more newborn, hot off the press, fresh out the womb, they come, they stay for a hot month, they go. You keep getting all these different kids. You're gonna need some financial situational help, okay? It's not really reimbursement. It's, we're gonna pay you this, and this is what you're gonna get. If you spend more on that child that month, okay, good job. You are a nice human being. You're still going to get that amount that we told you we were going to give you. If you spent less that month for that child, okay, we're still going to give you that amount that we were going to give you this month. You get less for certain ages. You get more if a child is considered disabled, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or hard to place. I think that's what they called it. And they call minorities hard to place. In Connecticut, that's what they call it. In Connecticut, they call Black children hard to place. They call Puerto Rican children hard to place. I'm not giving you a number of what I experienced. I'm going to give you weird numbers. So let's say a child that is considered perfect. Let's say you get $700 a month for that kid. If you only spent $300 a month on that kid that month, you're still going to get your $700. If you spent $800 a month on that child, you still gonna get your $700. So the word I used as reimbursement, that was wrong. I shouldn't have used reimbursement, because reimbursement means you get what you gave out, you get it back. They're gonna tell you what they're gonna give you, and they're gonna give it to you, and that's it. Now, if there's a child that has a physical disability or mental or emotional disability, let's say, because you're gonna get more for them. Let's say they get $1,000 a month. And usually it depends on what type of disability they have. Physical disability gets the most, because there's like a range of disability. Like perfection gets this amount, stamp, like that. Then there's disability. Then there's a range of disability. And like the physical gets the highest. So I'm just going to say physical disability in a wheelchair, or they can't walk or talk. They have to have a feeding tube, breathing machine. Let's say they get $1,000 a month. So if you spent $800 a month on that kid, they only get $1,000. you're gonna get your 1,000. If you spent $1,200 a month on that child, you're only gonna get 1,000. So it's not really a reimbursement, it's a stipend check. They tell you what you're gonna get, that's what you're gonna get. And I think that's why a lot of people are afraid of people that are taking money and they're taking money and just not spending much on that child so they can keep getting that check, that stapled amount check. And it's like, stop. Now there are gonna be some months that you're gonna spend less than the stipend check. That's how it was what I did. And then what you do is you put that money aside for Christmas or for their birthday, or you give them a little something special, or you could take them out for a special dinner once a month. You're like, oh, we spent less that month, so let's go do something cool. Let's go do something fun, exciting, stuff like that. There's no way that you can't take care of a foster child. The only way I feel that you couldn't is when it comes to financiers. What the world? When it comes to the financial part of it. There's no way you can't take care of a foster child. Now, if you can't, it's because either you don't want no kids. Like, whew, I'm done. Don't want no children. Either my children have left the nest or I never wanted them. Then I can see why you can't take care of foster children. Or you don't have any room in your home. Or you don't have time because your job doesn't work with the kid. Like when the kid comes out of school or out of daycare, you're still at work, so it doesn't work like that. That's fine. But if all those things are not a problem, and the only problem you think you have is finances, you don't. You don't, because you're gonna get a stipend. And find out what the stipend is for that state. Some stipends are high, some stipends are low, and that depends on the cost of living in that state. So like the Upper East, like New York, Connecticut, and over there in California, it's gonna be high. If the cost of living is ridiculously high, and I don't mean your opinion of cost of living, I mean factual cost of living is so high, their stipends are going to be high. And then the more children you have, the more you're gonna get. So if you got perfect child and you only get $700 a month, I think that's the number I gave you, 700, and there's 3 of them kids, what's 7 times 3? Was that 21? You got $2,100 that month. You could take care of a foster child. Do not spend that money on yourself. I'm serious about that. Next one, because I'm talking too long. Can foster parents travel with you wrote with their charges, I think you mean with their children, in state or out of state? This one is, you're gonna have to ask the social worker. It's always available. Like it's never a stamp no, put it that way. It's never a stamp no like that. It's more like well, where you going? How long you gonna be there? Where you staying? How you gonna get there? It's like that. It's like, you want a yes? I need some information. That's more like that. It's never a no, don't come to me and ask me, can you take a child that's not yours out of the state? Are you crazy? I don't think I've taken Eddie out of state. I took Lizzie out of state. And while we were out of state, we got a phone call. We went to Virginia Beach and we got a phone call, and the social worker told me, congratulations, we have Lizzie's adoption date scheduled. And I was like, yeah. We found out that she was gonna be adopted while we were on our trip to Virginia Beach. I don't remember taking Eddie out of state. So I do remember taking Lizzie, so I'll just talk about that one. I took her out of state to Virginia Beach. She was not even 2 yet, because it was in the summertime. She turned 2 that October. What they wanted was the date, like how long you're gonna be there. We were there for almost a week or something like that. They wanted to know the date. They wanted to know who was going. It was me, Lizzie, and Nana. This was before Eddie was even born. So it was me, Lizzie, and Nana. Or maybe Eddie had just been born, but I didn't have him yet. They wanted to know how long we were going there. They wanted to know how we were getting there. They're gonna wanna know your flight number. They're gonna wanna know the plane. They wanna know all that stuff, because if something happened to the plane, God forbid, they wanna know if their child is on it. Then they wanna know what, if you're gonna stay at a hotel, an Airbnb, a family member's house, they wanna know the address. We stayed at a hotel. So they want the address of the hotel, and they want the telephone number of the hotel. Think of it like an overbearing, overprotective parent. They want to know all the business, okay? After you give all of that business, you give it to them, they have the right to say, no, we don't want that child leaving the state. No, they can say that. Or it can be the birth parent. They can say no. The reason how it was only the foster parent, not foster parent, it was only the social worker's ability to say yes or no with Lizzie is because like 2 months before we went on that trip, the parents, hold on, I'm about to sneeze, a couple months, like a month or two before we went on that trip, the parents lost their rights. So it was a TPR, that's termination of parental rights. So they couldn't have yes or no on anything anymore. When that parent still has rights, they can ask them as well. But it's not a flat out no. It's a give us the information and we'll let you know if it's a yes or no. Okay, these last ones I think are pretty quick, like are pretty easy. How does the potential foster parent have to prepare their home for children to come into? Think of it like you're getting ready to have a baby and you're so excited and you wanna create the nursery. It don't have to be all that crazy and decorative and be like, we're gonna paint the walls and we're gonna do this, although that's what I did. How you feeling? But you don't have to do that. What is the meat and potatoes of the room you need? You need a bed. You need some bedding. You need at least 2 outfits. You need at least 2 outfits. You need a towel, washcloth, and then you need like soap. You need some lotion, shampoo, conditioner. And when you buy that, buy all the kind that has no scent in it. Like, you shop if that child has the worst skin ever. If that child is allergic to everything but air. Think of it like that, because you don't know who's coming to your home. So if you get the stuff that just smells so good and looks so good, and my children use it or I use it, yeah, but you don't know these kids. Get the most natural stuff. Get the most natural detergent, like laundry detergent. Oh, this just popped in my head. Think of it like you are running an Airbnb, like you're running a hotel. Get the basics to start with, the basics. Just enough to welcome that baby in the home. And the reason why I say you need just enough, don't say, well, I got time. No, because when the children came into my home, there was these 2 girls that came into my home. They came with nothing. The little girl came to me with no socks, no shoes. She had a nightgown on that was filthy with holes in it. She had on like a pamper, like a pull-up kind of pamper. It was dirty. She came to me asleep. I told that story before, but that just keep thinking about that just makes me so sad. Imagine being taken out of your home and then you fall asleep in the social worker's car and you wake up the next day in a stranger's home. That is scary. Especially, think of it this way, especially if you just live with your mom and you got removed from the home and you get placed into a male foster home. Now this man is single, a male foster home, and you wake up in a home with a man. That is scary. But she was asleep when she came into the home. But she was removed from a woman's home and placed into a woman's home. But just think of it stuff like that. So you got to be very gentle with the child when they first walk in. And then the baby, she had a baby sister. She came with her clothes like a onesie. Her clothes look a little more clean. She came with no shoes, no socks. There was a little can of formula because the social workers, it was 2 social workers, they were together. It was a guy and a girl. They went to CVS, to a pharmacy, and got a little thing. And they went and got like one of those like clear, like your traditional dollar store clear bottles. They got that for her. And then I think they got a little thing of Pampers, or did they not bring Pampers? No, they had like a couple Pampers. Those kids came with nothing. She was able to take a bath the next day because I had all the towels and the you know, the body wash and stuff like that. But she didn't have any clothes to wear. And so I remember I went to the 24-hour Walmart that was like almost an hour away from where I lived. And I bought her some shoes and I bought her an outfit. And the reason I bought her shoes is when she was asleep, I took her foot and laid her foot up to my hand and marked it with a marker, how big her foot was, and held up every shoe like that, every shoe, to see if it fit. So it's gonna be kind of hard that way. But if you only want babies, get a few onesies, them cheap onesies. Go to a store called Once Upon a Child. And you can go there, because we went there the next day with them. And while I was shopping, I got a phone call saying that they're going to be removed from your home because a family member is going to take them. But, and I was about to spoil them. Yes, I was. Just have your basics. Think of it like you are an Airbnb. What will you have for the basics? That question was long too, because I babble too much. How often can one ask for childcare services? What do you exactly you mean? So I'm just going to answer it on what I think you meant. Do you mean that a child comes into your home and you ask for daycare and then that child leaves, another child comes in? Are you afraid to ask for that new child for foster care? I mean, for daycare, because you're like, I asked for little Tina and they gave it to me and I'm so grateful, but now they're gone and little Jonathan showed up. I'm scared to ask for daycare services for Jonathan because I already asked for like a year's worth of daycare for Tina. Man, I'm scared. You better not be scared. You better go on in there and ask for Jonathan's money. Do not be scared. Sometimes you gotta look at it bluntly. That child belongs to DCF or CPS, whatever name that state calls it. That's their child. So they're gonna pay for for daycare. But you have to ask, because that's something they will not advertise. I didn't even know until I heard it from someone else. They paid for daycare services for the entire time Lizzie was my child. My foster child. With Eddie was not in I kept saying foster care. Eddie was not in daycare because he had to wear this helmet on his head and it had to be taken off at certain times and put back on. And then he had this really bad pressure sore that had to be cleaned and sanitized and, and washed. And then that had to go on his head and then it had to be taken off. And it was too much for him. He had a helmet on his head and I said, I don't want him in daycare. So Eddie was with me the entire time. Eddie and I were like this all the time. And I remember I was talking to like a social worker and a principal of a school. And I was like, I feel bad that I didn't have him in daycare because he is so hyper now. And I feel like he didn't get to feel that daycare with all these kids and be able to see what it's like to have to share attention during the day. He had me all the time. And that's why Eddie is so hyper in school now. I feel like if I put him in daycare, maybe he wouldn't be as hyper because I feel like Lizzie got that experience. So she doesn't act like that in school. She be getting her little time, so she be talking a lot in class. They're totally different. And I don't know, maybe he still would be that way. It's just his personality, even if he was in daycare. But anyway, you ask for that daycare. You ask for it, yes you do, because that is going to eat your money. Daycare is like the cost of mortgage. It's gonna eat it. And that's not being money hungry, doing it for the wrong reasons. It's not that. It's not that. I'm trying to do the best that I can for this child and I gotta go to work. My husband gotta go to work. Where is this child gonna go? But I do want to let you know a lot of that stuff disappears after you adopt a child, so you better be ready for that. You gotta keep that in your mind. Now we're on the last question. Can I specify an age or sex of a child? For older kids, are foster parents told that the child may have mental health issues for whatever reason? Can you specify? You sure can. It'll ask you, are you willing to take a disabled child? And if so, what level or what severity of disability will you take? You are willing to take any child that has a disability. You get special classes. You're not gonna get a call on a child that has a disability if you did not take the class for that. For age group and gender, they know, but they still gonna call you. First, they're gonna call all the people that, like if there's like a 5-year-old, no, let me go higher. Like there's an 8-year-old, but you only want up to 5 years old. They're gonna call all the people that are willing to take 8-year-olds. And if there's nothing available, they're gonna go down their list of all the parents that don't even have a kid in their home yet. And you're gonna get called. And it's up to you to say yes or no. You're not bound to take the child that they call you for. And you may feel guilty. You might be like, but I'm scared to say no, because if I say no, they're never gonna call me again because I said no to a child. I had someone say that before. It was like a meeting, because after that every month we would have like this foster parent like not meet and greet, but it was kind of like meetups, and we would have snack and drinks. Well, the drinks was water and juice, and the kids would be over in another room playing. And we had some new parents. It was a husband and a wife, and the husband did most of the talking. And he was like, I'm just afraid because we said no to this one child and I never got a call again after that. And if I said yes, they would have kept calling me. And we're like, that's not it. That's not it. We kept telling them that. Now, for mental health issues, don't feel like because they didn't tell you about an issue, that there is no issue. Ask. It's up to them to say, well, we're not gonna, we don't know much yet, or we're not gonna tell you yet, or then it's up to them to tell you they're not gonna say it, but you're gonna have to ask. And the reason why I say that is because they're gonna kind of, the social workers are gonna kind of play, they're gonna kind of play these parents. Meaning they're gonna call, like they have 5 foster parents on the list of who they're gonna call. So they're gonna call foster parent 1, and they're gonna tell everything about that child and any type of issues, and that foster parent's gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So then they have to hang up. They're gonna call foster parent 2, and foster parent 2 is gonna say, yes, oh, we like this. And the minute they talk about that mental health, they're like, no, we don't want a child with mental health issues. Damn. So they hang up and they're gonna call number 3. And let's say you're number 3. Or let's say you're number 4, because number 3 said no as well. Let's say you're number 4. And they're like, every time we keep calling, every time we get to the mental health issue, they turn us away. So you know what? Don't sit down about that mental health issue. Just pump up that kid like you selling a used car. So they call. And then they talk to you and they tell you everything about that kid like they selling a used car. And they're like, yeah. And you say yeah, and you bring the child in. You're like, oh, I love the child. And the 2 social workers are like, yes, we did it. And then you get the child, and then it's time to go to their, to see their pediatrician. You get there, and then they're like, so what did they tell you about the child? And then you're like, oh, they tell me this. And then the pediatrician is like, did they tell you about their mental health? And I'm like, tell me about a what? They have medication that they need to be prescribed. It looks like they're due for their refill. Yeah. And then you're like, what? So you got to be careful. They will play games. One, I always say this story. One social worker wanted to turn me, when I was 28 years old, into a grandmother. I got a phone call for a little boy. And they told me all about the little boy. It was so lovely. And I was saying yes. And she said, oh, but wait a minute. I do have to tell you that it comes with a 15-year-old mother. Come with a what? After all that, we've been on the phone for about 10 minutes. And after all that, you telling me that he comes with a mom. So therefore, I'm not that baby's foster parent. I'm that girl's foster parent. Because you are a foster parent to a child that does not have their birth parent. That little boy has his birth parent because the birth parent is coming. So I would be her foster parent. You should have told me about her. And you should have said, but I do want to let you know that she does have a child, though. Are you okay to take care of her child as well? That's how you do it. You were supposed to talk about her and tell me that she came with a little boy. Don't talk about the little boy and tell me that he comes with a mother. That was the only no I ever said. And I felt bad when I said no. I felt bad. Y'all gotta stop lying to these foster parents. You're gonna wear them out and they're not gonna want to be foster parents. It's already, we get talked about and we have this bad persona about us. Like they're just doing it for the money. They're doing it for the money, or they're doing it to steal these people's children. They're not your kids. Go have your own. You're just out here stealing people's children. You're here stealing our taxpayers' money. Like what? So we already have a bad thing that we gotta hear that all the time. And then for the people that are on our side is lying to us, we're like, okay, we can stop this. We can stop this. I don't want to do it no more. And then now y'all begging for foster parents. It's like, be honest. That's how I look at it. Is there anything else I wanted to add? Oh, in her comment, she did say, how do you guys like Texas? We love Texas. There's no problem. Yeah, it's hot. When it's hot, take your butt inside. It's like anywhere else. The only thing that I can complain is that it doesn't rain that much, so your grass looks strugglish. And that grass looked beautiful, and now it looks strugglish. It's not dead. It's just ugly. And I looked down the hallway. I looked down the street, and everybody's grass looked ugly. It rained yesterday though. Rained for about almost an hour, and it came down heavy. I was like, come on, pour. But I love Texas. I don't have a problem yet. I know. The Lord is with us and he just protects us. I think he's spoiling us. He just protects us, and I don't see all that foolishness. Like, I don't get a lot of foolishness on us being a multiracial, transracial family. A lot of people get that, and I be feeling so bad when I read what they go through and how they're being talked about. Maybe it's just a lot of people don't see our channel, but we have a lot of subscribers and I feel that our views are pretty good. Although our views are dropping, a lot of views on YouTube are dropping. It's sad. But so share our videos, share it, talk about it. Give us, keep watching it. If you got if you got 2 cell phones, you got a TV and an iPad, what I want you to do is turn my video on all those devices and just let it play. That's 4 views coming from you. How you feeling? Just do that, do that, do that. Or like play it on your computer. Like you at work, play it on your computer, put your computer on mute and minimize the screen. Just let it play. Just let our channel just play. You ain't gotta watch it, just let it play. Give us some views. If you have any other questions about foster care, put it down in the comments below. But I love you guys so much. I done talked off my lip gloss. Yes, mouth all dry. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you watch our videos, thumbs them up, and then also go on Christine's channel and watch her podcast, okay? She's a little nervous, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Let me see if I can edit this and get this up today. Bye.